Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome yet again to another episode of Lunch Guide. I'll be your host Chef Andy, and today we are going to be making a beautiful soup. This is a recipe that's got a bit of Thai and a bit of Asian inspiration to it. I'm going to be fusing it with a bit of my own creation to it. So I'm just going to introduce you to the ingredients and then we're going to go straight into the dish. So first of all, I'm just going to have my oil running here. So we're just going to give that a bit of time to heat up. Actually, let's go with that. Right, so we're going to have the oil going. And then on this side, I'm just going to take you through what we're going to be working with today. So from the front, I have some soy sauce. I've got some mustard, just English regular mustard. I've got some red curry paste. I've got some cashew nuts. So these are not cooked, they're not salted, they're raw. I've got some salt, and then I've got some noodles there. I've got some nice, beautiful. So this is something you can purchase anywhere. Please feel free to alternate that for any other noodles or any other pasta you can find. And then I also have some oyster sauce. I've got some sweet corn. I've got some olive oil and some apple cider vinegar. Here I have some potato wedges pre-cut. They're just sitting in some water. I've got a nice beautiful fillet of tilapia here. And then I've got some teriyaki sauce, and then here I've got a nice beautiful mixture of oregano and aromat. This we're going to actually be seasoning the potatoes with. I've got some cut up red and green yellow peppers there, and then I've got some nice finishings off there with some courgettes. Courgettes. So without further ado, we're just going to jump into a quick commercial break. I'm going to allow you to grab your cookbooks and your pens, get somewhere to write down if you're going to be taking any notes, and we are going to be back shortly, and we're just going to dig in and get into the cooking process. See you in a little while. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chef Andy. For those who missed on the introductory bit of the show, we were just introducing the ingredients to my right. I'm just going to have a pan going and I'm going to fill you in if you're just tuning in. So basically the dish we're going to be working with today, a nice beautiful dish that you can have on a weekend. It's a nice comfort food for those cold mornings. It's a dish that's got a bit of Thai and a bit of Asian inspiration to it. So I'm just going to introduce the ingredients as we go. So we're going to be working with a nice beautiful fillet of tilapia. I'm going to be working as well with some red and green peppers, some nicely fine chopped courgettes there, a bit of teriyaki sauce, a bit of oyster sauce, and a bit of teriyaki sauce, oyster sauce, and soy sauce. And then I've got some seasoning here, which we're going to leave aside for later. And then I've got some sweet corn, some nice beautiful pasta there, some salt for seasoning, some mustard, some cashew nuts, and some red curry paste. So we're just going to go into the first process of the dish. So basically we're just going to sear the tilapia. So we're just going to do that on the pan in front of me here. So nice, easy, beautiful dish. So we're going to give the pan to cool off, give it a bit of time to cool off, and what we're going to do is we're going to drain the water from the potatoes here quickly. I'm just going to show you how the wedges are going to go in. So I'm just going to grab a bowl here. So all we're going to do is just jump the potatoes in a bowl. All I'm going to add is the seasoning, as I said, a mixture of oregano and a bit of aromat. Just add that in there. Drizzle a bit of olive oil, and last but not least, a small dash of soy sauce and a bit of mustard here. So I'm just gonna take about half a teaspoon. So this is just regular Dijon mustard. So all I'm going to do is I'm gonna mix that together, and we're just gonna let this sit on the side for a little bit. We're gonna let those potatoes really absorb the juices there, and then this is just gonna go straight into our hot oil on the side. All right, so without further ado, we are now just going to go straight onto our tilapia. So this I have not marinated, there is nothing in there. Remember, this is actually going to be a soup, so this is the reason why I have not put any marination on the fish. All right, so nice hot pan, give it a nice 2 or 3 swirls around. And all I'm going to do is take my tilapia off that plate. I'm gonna have it on my board. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to season it on each side. So the beauty of the salt is it just gets all the excess water off the tilapia. It actually also gives the tilapia a bit of color when it goes onto the pan. So nice, generous sprinkle of salt. And all I'm going to do is now move that straight to the pan. Remember, make sure it's not wet when it goes in. Make sure it's not dripping. And all I'm going to do is swirl my pan once more just to get all that oil in there, and I'm just going to pick one of the front sides. And always remember to have your tilapia go in skin side down. This helps the fish to actually hold shape when it comes out. All right, so that's going. We are now just going to go in with our potatoes. So as I said, just gonna use a bit of salt to check my oil. It's perfect, it's nice and hot. So we're just going to add those in there one at a time. All right, so it's nice and bubbly. It's on high heat. Remember, we want to cook it for as short of a period as we possibly can. Just gonna give that a nice stir. So we just want to get those to golden brown. We're going to incorporate those in our sauce much later, so in our soup much later. So your tilapia is now nicely cooking through. As you can tell from the sides there, you can see the nice beautiful golden rings around it. Just going to check that. So that's about a minute away. We are just going to let it sear. And on this side, we're just going to pay attention to our potatoes. So as you can see, they're nicely colored on the outside. That's all we are looking for. So I'm just going to turn off the heat on that end. So as you can see, it's a nice quick cooking process. We're just going to dump them in there, get the brown out of it and take it out. So I'm just going to grab a plate, and I'm just going to grab some napkins here. We're just going to try and get the excess oil off the potatoes now. So I always like to use about 2-3 pieces of napkins. And now this comes out of the oil. So remember, this is not cooked right through. I've just flash cooked them just for color. So for those who are just tuning in, what I'm taking out of the oil now is some potato wedges that I marinated in a bit of mustard, a bit of soy sauce, a bit of salt, a bit of oil. And now we're just going to incorporate this in the soup much later. So I'm just going to leave those on the side to cool off. And we're just going to come back to a beautiful fish tilapia that is now been cooking on the first side for about 2.5 minutes. So we're just going to give that a nice turn. Right. So as you can see, nice beautiful brown color there. We're just going to bring the heat up to medium now. So remember, this is cooking about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. I just want to get the color, I want to get the beautiful colors going. Remember, we only season that with a bit of salt. This is basically to get the beautiful golden brown colors you can see on the top. So I'm just going to give that a little nice shake there. So nice, beautiful tilapia fillet. I'm just going to bring my heat a little higher now. So what I want to do is I want to have it crispy when it comes out. Remember, I'm going to incorporate that into a soup, so I want it to be very crispy on the outside and well cooked through. All right, so that will keep going on the sides there. So we're just going to get rid of our oil quickly. And I'm just going to move that to the other side of the counter. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go in there with our soup now. Just going to have another pan going there. So basically now we're just going to get into the finishing bit of the dish. So basically this is the point where the soup comes together. Just going to clean that a little bit. Put it on the side. So remember, the dish that we're making is, I would not call it vegetarian because it contains a bit of fish. But if you do have a lacto-vegetarian, one that is allowed to actually consume fish, this is a very good option to have. As I said, it works really good as comfort food, something you can have on those chilly cold mornings. And it actually works really good as a breakfast alternative, as a snack just before lunch, a midday snack if you just miss lunch and you're not too hungry. This is something really nice you can do at home. Okay, so the pan's nicely heating up, so just a small dash of olive oil in there. Okay, so for the last bit, we're just going to be incorporating a bit of sweet corn, a bit of pasta, a bit of red and green peppers, a bit of chopped up courgettes. Then I have a bit of oyster sauce, a bit of teriyaki sauce and some soy sauce, some red curry paste, some cashew nuts and some salt. So we're just going to allow that to heat up a little bit. So we're not going to let it get too hot. We're just going to go right in with the peppers. So I'm going to start with those. So remember not to heat your pan too hot. Remember, we are not coloring them. We just want to sweat them a little bit. Let's give that a nice quick toss. Okay, we're going to let those continue for a few seconds. I am going to also be using a bit of water in this process. A lot of soups are actually going to incorporate a bit of stock to the soup. I like to use water with this one because the concentrated flavors from the oyster sauce, from the teriyaki sauce and from the soy sauce are a bit overpowering, so I'm going to be using water to bring it a little lower. Right, so we're just going to quickly check on our tilapia here. Gonna give that one more turn. As you can see, nice beautiful colors there. So I'm just gonna let that finish off on the pan. We're gonna turn that off now. Just gonna let that finish off on the other side. Come back to the pan here. So I've got some red peppers. I'm going to be incorporating as well a bit of sweet corn in there. So remember this, you can use them canned. You can buy your own raw corn and you can actually just blanch them beforehand. If you're making it really quick and you're not looking at spending so much time, you can also use tinned sweet corn. It also works. Right. I'm just gonna give that a nice little swirl there. And then I'm just going to go in with my pasta. Remember, this hasn't been pre-cooked. We want it al dente, so I'm gonna add it in at this stage. So about three small handfuls. And then I'm going to add in my water. So basically, because I'm using cold water now, I'm just going to bring my heat to high. Remember, I want to simmer this really quickly. So I'm just going to bring it up to the boil. And then in there, I'm going to add a bit of teriyaki sauce, a bit of oyster sauce, and lastly, a bit of soy sauce. So we're just going to let that come to the boil. As I said, it was going on low heat, so I've just turned it up. I want to bring the water to boiling point. I want to get that pasta cooked really quickly. Remember, the vegetables have just been tossed in the pan a little bit. And basically to that, last but not least, I'm going to add just one nice heaped teaspoon of red curry paste. So I'm just going to chuck that in there. So this is going to be simmering for a little bit. We're just going to take our tilapia off the heat now. So remember, this has nothing in it. I only seasoned it with a bit of salt. It just went on the pan, turned it twice on the pan. It's nice and crispy, as you can see. It holds shape. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at what our soup turned out like. I'm going to show you how to incorporate the tilapia in the soup, and then we're just going to finish this off. We're going to go straight to the plating, and then we're just going to close off the show. See you in a little while. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the break. For those who missed out on what we were doing earlier, we had some vegetables and some pasta going in the pan. As you can see, it's a little reduced now. I'm just going to add a bit of water. So remember, we added the first bit of water and we brought the temperature up to high. We let the pasta really cook up, so you can see it's got a nice, it's fluffed up a little bit. It's got a nicer, bigger shape now. So I'm just going to get to the last bit of the finishing process. So for those who missed what went in there, remember there's some oyster sauce, teriyaki sauce, and oyster sauce, teriyaki sauce, and soy sauce. I also have in there some sweet corn. I've got some pasta. I have some red and green peppers. So that has been simmering now for about 20 to 25 minutes. So this is just about done. So I'm just going to show you the finishing bit of the dish now. So just to finish that off, so for those who missed out on what we had done earlier, there's some potatoes that we had marinated in some soy sauce, some mustard, salt and pepper. We tossed it in that mixture, and then we fried them, we flash fried them. So these are just half cooked. So this is actually going to be incorporated in the dish. I also have here some uncooked cashew nuts, so I'm just going to start with those. I'm just going to sprinkle those all around. So as I mentioned earlier, this is an Asian-inspired dish. It's actually a fusion of a lot of different ingredients, and the flavors that come out of this are actually to die for. It's an amazing dish, very simple to make, just takes a bit of time, a bit of passion, a bit of love, and the taste are just, actually from the aromas coming from the pan there, it's amazing. So now just to get to the last bits of that, I'm just going to now get my potatoes in there. Remember, as I said, you can have this as a soup. You can have some rice on the side with the dish as well. It actually works really good as a comfort dish for those cold days or those very, very gloomy mornings that you're just sitting at home. And you can actually make this in advance. You can carry it to work as a lunch snack. Very, very good option as well. Right, so we just added in a bit of some half-cooked potatoes. Remember the potatoes, we just flash fried them earlier. We let them rest, so we're just now going to reheat them in the pan here with the soup. All right, so very simple dish, and then now I'm just going to add my chunks of tilapia fillet that we did earlier. So I'm just going to give that a nice quick mix. Remember, most of the ingredients, for the instance, the fish and the potatoes had been cooked, so I don't need to actually cook them any longer. I'm just incorporating them in there. Just gonna finish that with some zucchini. Right, simple stuff. So this is now good. We're just going to just let that go for about half a minute. Just giving it a nice quick toss like I'm doing now. You can use a spoon. I just prefer to use the pan in general. Right, so that's nicely covered up now. As you can see, it's nice, it's thick. I'm just going to now turn off the heat there. So very simple dish, as I said. It's a one-pot cooking process. Everything goes together in there, and as you can see from the camera in front of me now, the colors are just phenomenal. You got a bit of green from the zucchini, some red from the peppers, and some green as well from the peppers. Some nice yellow colors there from the potatoes, and the fish is just hidden all over in there. So I'm just going to just cut right through to the serving process. So as I said, this is a low cost dish, very easy to make for yourselves at home. Right, so we're just going to start plating this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the biggest chunks first. So I'm gonna go with the potatoes. Just gonna set that aside. Just gonna grab another piece. So remember, these are just small tips of how to make it look attractive while serving. I always like to start with the biggest chunks. They're easier to plate first. All right, so a bit of potato in there. And then I'm just gonna go with my fish now. So what I'm going to do is I want to have this on top of the plate for later, so I'm just going to move them to the side quickly. Remember to be very quick while doing that. You don't want the fish to go cold and then serve your soup with some cold fish on the top. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to scoop that liquid in there with the pasta and the peppers. Just go right around the plate, build it up as I go. So I like to just dish from the middle of the plate. It just gives the plate a little bit of height, as you can see. Right, so get all those colors all around the plate. Get that pasta all over the place. All right, very simple plating technique there. And then last but not least, I'm just going to go with my fish. So this is just to go right on the top like that. So very easy, very tasty comfort food you can try at home for those mornings or those afternoons that are a bit chilly, or those days that you're too lazy to cook. This is a nice alternative for making a one-pot dish, something that you can cook in advance as well. You can just reheat this when you need to have some. This will easily keep in your fridge for 4 to 5 days, but I would recommend, if you're going to keep the mixture, probably you'd keep the mixture separate, but don't cook the fish and then leave it in there, because it will break up. You might not be able to get the consistency and the shapes that you can see on your plate. So it's been a pleasure to make this dish with you today. My name is Chef Andy. You've been watching Lunch Guide on BrandPlus television. I have been definitely enjoying the fact that we have done this, and it actually looks better than what I thought. So just to close off, I'm going to definitely ask you to just tune into BrandPlus TV on the next episode for more interesting dishes. Follow our Facebook page, follow our Twitter page, leave your comments, leave your inquiries, leave your recommendations. Just tell us what you think about the show. It's been an honor being with you today, and from me and the studio here, I'm going to say goodbye.